When we talk about vaccine hesitancy, it's so easy to think of it as a simple yes or no, but is it really? It's actually a journey, a really complex, personal one. And that's what we're going to do in this explainer. We're going to map out that journey to get a much better handle on this whole critical issue. And look, the stakes here they're incredibly high. Just think about this. Back in 2019, so way before the recent pandemic was on anyone's radar, the World Health Organization already had vaccine hesitancy on its list of the top 10 threats to global health. So, right off the bat, we know this isn't some fringe issue. It's a massive challenge that affects all of us. So, what is really behind it all? How do people get to their decision? Well, like we said, it's not a single moment of choice. It's a journey, full of twists and turns. So let's actually walk that path together and see what leads to a final decision about vaccination. Okay, so to really map this out, we're going to look at it as a kind of chain of thought. The idea here is to stop seeing the decision as just one single moment and instead see it for what it is, a whole series of connected steps. All right, so here's our roadmap for this journey. First up, we've got awareness and knowledge, just the basic starting point. Then we'll get into perception and attitude, which is all about how we start to form our own feelings on it. After that, it's the big one, weighing the pros and cons. Then we'll look at all those external influences, friends, family, you name it. And finally, we'll hit the finish line, activation and decision, that moment when a choice is actually made. Let's dive in. The whole journey really kicks off with what you could call a personal calculation. This is all that inner stuff, right? The dialogue that's happening inside your own head way before you even start hearing what anyone else has to say. And that calculation starts with this whole mix of things. You've got the basics, like, what do I even know about the vaccine and the disease? How likely do I think I am to get sick? And a big one, do I trust the science and the safety of it all? But it's not just about facts and figures. It's also super emotional, It gets tangled up with our personal beliefs, our deepest fears, and yeah, even our past experiences, good or bad, with the whole healthcare system. So all of that leads to this mental balancing act. On one side of the scale, you're putting all the potential good stuff, protecting yourself, protecting your family, your community. But on the other side, you've got the perceived risks. What about side effects? What if I just don't trust the system? What about those stories I heard from a friend? It's a really, really personal trade-off, and everyone's scale is weighted a little differently. But here's the thing. Nobody makes these decisions in a total vacuum, right? As soon as that internal calculation starts, the outside world starts knocking, and it comes in with some pretty powerful social and systemic forces. In our circle of influence, man, it is so powerful. Just look at this. You've got family opinions, what's considered normal in your community. That alone can be more than half the external pressure you feel. And then you layer on top of that the voices of people you trust, like your doctor or maybe a religious leader. Their advice can carry a ton of weight. But it's not all just about social pressure. The whole journey can get completely sidetracked or helped along by something way more practical. It's not just about who you know. A lot of the time, it's about what you can actually get your hands on. And these practical things, honestly, they can be the real make or break factors. Think about it. Someone could be totally on board, ready to go, but what if the vaccine just isn't available near them, or it costs too much, or it's just a huge pain to get an appointment? Suddenly, that whole journey can just grind to a halt. These practical barriers can be every bit as powerful as someone's deepest personal belief. Okay, so this brings us to the big moment, the moment of decision. After all that internal debate and all that external pressure, what is it? What's the final push that takes someone from just hesitating to actually taking action? First, I think it's super important to understand what hesitancy actually means here. We're not talking about a hard, firm no. It's more of a state of indecision, right? A reluctance. It's a stop along the path, not necessarily the final destination. So what flips that switch? What turns indecision into a decision? Well, often it comes down to something called an activation trigger. This could be something as simple as a direct, clear recommendation from a doctor you really trust. Or it could be a bigger community effort that suddenly makes getting vaccinated feel like a positive thing you're all doing together. And guess what? The journey doesn't even end there, because the experience someone has after they make that choice, that becomes powerful new information. It shapes how they'll make health choices in the future, and get this, it can turn them into a new influential voice back in their own community's circle of influence. It all comes full circle.
So, knowing how complicated this whole journey is, what actually helps? Well, it turns out the best strategies are all about empathy. It's about actually listening to people's concerns, not just talking at them. It's about building trust, which takes time. And it's about providing clear information in a way that's sensitive to someone's culture and beliefs. If there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that the path to a decision isn't a straight line. Not at all. It's this complex, winding journey, and it looks a little different for every single person.
So that kind of leaves us with a big question to chew on, right? If we start seeing every one of these decisions as a personal journey, how does that change how we approach the whole conversation? How can we get better at understanding the specific path someone is on? And maybe, just maybe, meeting them where they are?